I think I just have this obsession over dismantling the system at large.
Hi Sam, welcome back to the podcast for the third time. You're the first guest we've got coming back for the third time, so welcome back. Can't wait for an update to hear all about it, and this time you're on YouTube, so This is exciting.
Yes, Rosie and Jeremy, thank you so much. I think this is the first time I've also been on a podcast three years in a row. So again, so incredibly grateful for you guys. I have so much love for both of you. So I'm super excited to continue on, hopefully with this trend. Hopefully I'll be invited back for a fourth year, but we'll see. I'm excited to dive in today.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time again. Really pumped to have you back on the show. Maybe just for the people who are new and seeing you for the first time. So yeah, basically the first time we talked was 2 years ago in May 2020. It was on May 4th, I remember, because we made a joke about recording every year for May the 4th. And we thought it'd be cool to have you every year to follow your journey. You've been documenting your life and especially your entrepreneurial journey online, especially on LinkedIn and stuff for years now, for about 5 years, right? 6 years?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So... And your growth and the evolution of you personally as a human being and your businesses has been very cool to follow, very inspiring and pretty incredible. Honestly, the growth that you've been, just getting in just a few years. You know, we tend to forget that usually it takes time to build a successful company. The overnight success is just a legend, and it's been really cool to see in a matter of like 3 years that we've known each other, how much you've been creating. It's been pretty insane.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely been a ride. A lot of speed bumps, a lot of roadblocks, a lot of world pandemics in between this time. So a lot to unpack. But again, grateful to just have another day on this spinning rock we call Earth.
So maybe could you give us like a quick 5-minute recap between leaving high school, not going to college, and now, like, what happened?
Yeah, absolutely. So, senior year of high school, I decided to not go to university, not go to college or secondary education, and really just jump in to entrepreneurship full time. At the time, I was a manager of a snowboard and ski hill during the winter, and then a manager at the same baseball fields in the summer. So same job at the Rock Sports Complex, my local ski hill and ballpark. So I was a manager there, and then decided to quit right after I graduated. I quit in, that must have been June of 2018, and then that summer I was just dedicated to just trying anything I could in entrepreneurship. So I remember I wanted to get my real estate license, studied that for a little bit, and that was during my senior year of high school. But during that time, I got super big into cryptocurrencies and investing and finance and kind of that side of things. So again, I tried a ton of different areas, again, from real estate to drop shipping to forex trading to cryptocurrencies to getting my Series 7 stock license. So again, I tried a lot of different things. Some things worked, some things didn't. But the common theme I had between all of these different ventures is that I spent the time actually documenting that journey. I spent time just talking to a camera saying, this is what I'm trying to do. And I started just posting those on LinkedIn and Instagram and Snapchat, specifically Instagram and Snapchat to start off with. Just simply saying, hey, this is my journey. I haven't built any crazy companies yet, but I'm trying to, and I'm just going to simply document the process of building those companies. So video after video.
What was inspiring you to document the process?
At the time, I was just getting into Gary Vee. I just learned who that was, and he was a huge proponent of document over create. Just document your life. Talk about what you want to do. You don't need to have crazy multi-million-dollar businesses behind you to talk about entrepreneurship, to talk about the actual journey and struggles through that. So that's really the lens that I took throughout my journey of, I knew that I wasn't the most qualified. I knew I didn't have a ton of business success or professional success for that matter behind me, but I knew I had a really interesting story, and I knew that story would become more and more interesting the more I documented it, because I think everyone's life is interesting if they choose to share it. So yeah, just kind of video after video, it started picking up steam, and then I hopped onto LinkedIn in the fall of 2018, and that's kind of when the world of video really opened up to myself. So in October of 2018, that's when I got my very first video client, and they hired me to create videos for them. I had an iPhone 10 at the time, and I was editing on iMovie on my iPhone. So from the later part of 2018 to early 2020, really that a little more than a year was spent building a video production company, traveling around to local businesses, traveling a little bit here and there. I went down to Miami a few times, Washington, D.C., really traveled kind of all over the country building a video production company. So, again, in person, big studio setups, 2-3 camera interviews, event recaps, a lot of physical experiences.
Yeah.
And then...
Can I just pause you there
Yep.
before you drop the what's coming? You started with an iPhone and iMovie.
Yep.
We hear so many times, I don't have the right equipment, I don't have the right training, I don't have the right certification, whatever, to start XYZ, whatever we want to start with. And you started a video company with an iPhone and a free editing tool.
That is right.
Can you talk a little bit about that, about this breaking the myth of like you need to spend $5,000 on amazing equipment to be a good videographer?
Yeah, I essentially started a video production company without ever touching a camera before. I had an iPhone, and I knew what I could use at the time. I couldn't afford a camera. I didn't. I had a little money saved up just from investing in like stocks and ETFs and stuff from high school. But other than that, I didn't have any working capital. I didn't have any startup capital. I didn't raise money. So I just had to use what I had available. To me, again, you've seen the biggest YouTubers start the same way. Again, Jimmy, Mr. Beast, he started with a little webcam on his old laptop, and you need to use what you have, because if you can't create good content or tell a good story with what you have, expensive camera won't do anything for you. I could have a $90,000 crazy cinema red camera, but it would be useless for me because I wouldn't know how to use it. I would create way better content with an iPhone because I know how to use it. So there's definitely levels to it, but you can just create with what you have, and the gear is just a tool. Again, skilled carpenters can build a lot of different things with a hammer, some nails, and a screwdriver. But someone who's never done carpentry before, they could have all the tools in the world and have no idea how to use them. So then it becomes pointless.
Yeah. Yeah, very good point.
Yeah.
So your business was growing with in-person events. You were doing gigs here and there, building a team. It wasn't just you anymore. Yep,
I made my first few hires throughout that kind of year and a little bit from late 2018 to early 2020, and then the world shut down and the pandemic hit in around March of 2020 is when the shutdown happened. I just moved out of my parents' house into my first apartment, and then the world locked down the week after. So it was definitely interesting timing, because I remember my business made I think my business lost like $1,800 the month I moved out, which I'm not the biggest numbers guy, but not making money that month and going the other way probably wasn't good for business. So I knew I had to change pretty quick, and that's really when we attacked online video editing and really made that pivot to again build an online company and kind of shut down the in-person side of things to really service more brands, more people at scale through this online video editing service we would end up building. So again, for the first probably 10 months or so, from March to later part of the year, kind of that October, November, December range, I was editing a ton of videos myself. I had one other partner, Ty, who was also helping me out. And then later part of 2020, that's when I brought on my editing partner that really helped me. He's a back-end silent partner that we choose to have it that way, but he helped me essentially build out the actual editing team that I use today. So been super grateful for him. But from later part of 2020 to where we are now in kind of mid 2022, it's been a crazy journey. We still just do the video editing side of things, but have made thousands of videos over the past couple of years. Worked with hundreds of awesome people, brands, companies, all that good stuff to really make a ton of videos per month. So absolutely grateful for what has happened and how it's kind of transpired. But that's really where we're at. Where we're at today. We have a team of 15 to 20 people on our team with all the editors and a few in-house employees, including my own mother. Mother, this is my mother. Mom, say hi to YouTube.
Hello, everybody.
That just joined the team a little while ago, so pretty happy about that. So it's definitely been a crazy ride so far.
So now that things are starting to open up again back in the world, would you go back into like in-person events and in-person filming, or are you going to stick with the online thing that you're doing now?
I think we're sticking online. I like it. It's much more scalable. I was never a huge fan of the in-person stuff. They were just opportunities that I would run with, and at the time they were just in-person opportunities. So maybe I go back kind of once in a while to film in person, but I really have no desire to kind of build out the video production side of things anymore.
Yeah.
I would rather invest that time into creating personal content for myself, personal brands that I want to grow, or media brands that I want to start. So that's really what which is nice because I built a video production company. I have all of the equipment needed. Now I can use that equipment for my personal use, which is nice. So it's definitely worked out in the end.
You've talked about that in some of your personal videos, but what I love is your business. Originally, you solved a problem that you had yourself, which is video editing.
Yeah.
Now, I think everyone loves to film videos, but I think, and this is something I think most people don't realize, is when they see a 10, 15 minutes video on YouTube, I don't think they realize the work, the hours it takes to edit this video, the amount of footage required to have this 10 to 15 minutes final video. And Rosie can attest that. She spent half an hour filming and I don't know how many hours editing for her YouTube. And this is a problem that many and more creators are having. And you solved a problem for yourself that millions of people are having in the world. And because your idea is simple when you think about it, right? When you look at it, it's like it's so obvious why it wasn't there before, you know.
Yeah.
But here you go. That's how you find your niche, and you know the business inside out because you were on the other side. Also, I think that's really helpful.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think that's just a solid piece of advice for any entrepreneurs out there, or even anyone that has personal problems. Like, I think the greatest companies are started by solving a personal problem that you are personally affected by. Again, selfishly, I just wanted to build the best video editing process possible because it was a huge barrier a huge speed bump in my own personal content creation journey, being a creator, that I faced. And I tried a ton of different editing companies. And if there is a better company out there, I would be happy to use them, but I simply couldn't find it. So that's when we decided to build our own, and it's definitely worked out so far. And again, I'm grateful for what we've been able to build, the team that we've been able to put together, because again, I couldn't do this content alone, and it's crazy to me that more people don't I guess do that or build teams around their own content. I couldn't imagine doing all of this by myself and editing all these videos by myself. I couldn't do it, and they're way better than me, so it's no use.
It's really interesting what you just said, actually, because also I think, and Rosie, I would like you maybe to share your point of view about that, but I've heard many, even famous creator like MKBHD, like he still edits his video himself. There is a thing about letting go of the editing. This is my baby, this is my style, and I feel a lot of people are very reluctant to give it away. There is an attachment there that people seems to struggle, but yeah, ultimately, I mean, you can't be good at everything in life. This is something you need to learn as a human being, and I think it's okay to let go of some things. I don't know, what's your take on Naro?
It's hard because I think, like you said, like like if you film in a certain way because you want the video to be a certain way, I've never had anyone edit my videos before, so I don't know if they'd be able to do my style. And I think I would worry if I had somebody else do it, that they'd maybe do it too dynamic or too fast-paced or too slow, or I don't know, it wouldn't be me doing it. But then I also understand the importance, because it takes me like literally, I don't know, maybe 6-8 hours to edit maybe like a 30 to 40 minute vlog, which is a long time. And in that time I could be producing like filming other videos and just have somebody else edit it. So it is a weird, like, you need to find someone that you really trust that can do what you want, that does what you want them to do, rather than just kind of doing their style, which I guess is obviously what you do with, you know, your clients. You ask them what they want and work towards their aesthetics. But it's hard to give away and to do. And I know it's something that's worth doing, and I know it's good to do because it would save me so much time. But there is that, like, oh, I don't want to just give it to somebody else to do.
Yeah. And,
it's a weird one.
And I think it helps me because I came, and I still come from a business first background. So I was never romantically attached to my editing style or my filming style, because I knew that I just picked up a camera and like, I guess this is my style. I still don't like say that I have a specific style. Obviously it's me, it's how I talk, it's how I carry myself. But from an editing standpoint and everything, it's like, my team edits way better than me and tells way better stories than me. I know my own strengths and I know my own weaknesses. So what I value the most out of anything is my time. So even if I need to do 6 rounds of revisions or 7 rounds of revisions to get a video right, that would take me 45 minutes to do when it comes to the communicating, watching the videos back. Let's say it's a 10-minute video. And I need to have 5 different rounds of revisions. Maybe that's 50 minutes. Let's call it an hour of revisions. It would take me 27 hours to edit the actual video. Plus, it would probably take a few years off of my life for the amount of stress that I would go through actually needing to edit that video. So for me, it's a win-win all day. But I'm sympathetic. I totally get that. Like pure creators want their hand in everything. And again, like Casey Neistat is one of the best examples of it. He edited all of his vlogs. He said he will never hire an editor because the actual story comes out in the edits for him. And it worked for him. It seems like obviously he loved that process. Could he have outsourced that? Absolutely. But would the story be the same? No. So you need to be aware. Again, I think Mr. Beast is a perfect example of building a team around him. He runs his YouTube channel more like a company than anyone else. He has teams in place. He has systems and processes in place to really produce the videos he wants. He could never do what he's doing now without a massive editing team. But again, a person like Mr. Beast is way different than a creator like Casey Neistat. Casey Neistat is way more relationship driven, way more story driven, when he needs to almost be the one inside the actual editing system, producing those videos, where a video like Mr. Beast would be not simpler to edit from an actual editing standpoint, but it's I can understand the differences of how it's easier to build a badass team around Beast's content versus someone like Casey Neistat. So it really
100%.
comes down to what you value. Do you value your own creative input over your time? The answer is yes to a lot of people, and the answer is no to a lot of other people. So again, there's no right or wrong answer. But for me, again, I value my time over everything.
Let's talk about your YouTube as well, because obviously you have people editing your videos, and I think that shows in the numbers, because I quickly checked before we started filming. You've got one that's got 56,000 views, another one that's got I don't know how many. Like, it's obviously you and your content that you're creating as well, but I also think the editing does play a part in that it's so interesting to watch. But yeah, talk to me about your YouTube. When did you start taking it seriously? How's it been with the growing and all that?
Yeah.
Because you've been scrapping up your YouTube. You had videos before.
I had a ton of YouTube videos before, and I never really created like solely for YouTube. They were always like sit down podcasts that I would just kind of throw up on YouTube. So again, I've had videos for the past few years, but I've never really taken the time to understand YouTube and actually invest in the platform. So from that perspective, I created I like to say, like, I created my first like dedicated YouTube video a few months ago, maybe in late February of this year. But really diving into the actual story, the emotion behind it, the edits behind it, what what's that actual customer journey through those videos. If, hey, someone is watching my video, I want them to have this sort of transformation by the end, and all of these little bits and stories and pieces can play into that final feeling, that final emotion that that video portrays. So that's really what I'm focusing on, is just like I want people to be transformed by these videos, and I'll try to do that the best I can through this process. But yeah, when it comes to like the actual edits, like I give my team like, hey, here's the storyboard that I'm working off of. Here's the emotions. Here's the like side stories I'm filming. Here's the order I'm filming it in. And I just say go crazy with it, and they do. And we obviously need to tweak some things here and there. But again, the video where I reacted to 100 of my first videos with my mom, I shot that in the matter of 2 days. It was like 70 gigs of footage, so it took them a whole day to download it. But they got that first rough draft to me within 8 hours or so, which that would take me days to do. So I have no idea how that was even physically possible. But that was done within 5 revisions, and it's a 30-minute video. So they know my style. It's awesome being able to work with the team, because again, you can form an actual relationship with them, and they understand your content sometimes better than you, and they can tell stories that you might have missed, or come up with ideas that you would have missed before. So again, grateful for them, but I'm excited for YouTube. It's definitely a beast, but have definitely seen some growth so far. Again, I have those 2 videos over kind of 50K views, which is nice. A few others kind of around that like 8 to 12K mark, which is super solid. Again, for just starting YouTube, I'll take it.
Yeah.
What's your goal with YouTube?
Just build it. Just try to impact as many people as possible. Again, it's nice because I don't. Unlike other creators, I have an actual business behind me that is creating substantial revenue, and I don't need to rely on my personal content or my YouTube AdSense to pay my rent. I have an actual business that does that. I have whole back-end systems to create the business success, the monetary success that a lot of people start creating content for. So for me, I'm just trying to go into it and create the best videos I physically can, and just try to transform people's way of thinking and their mindsets. Hopefully for the better through the content. So again, I have no ambition to be the biggest YouTuber in the world, or cross 100 million subs next year or anything like that. So I'm just going to continue try to make the best videos I can.
Something that I really like about your style is that, because I've been following you for a few years now, you don't mind to just start something new, get rid of a project and do a new one. Like at some point you were doing those documented thoughts when you were like getting your road mic and just chatting in your place or with friends or whatever, and it was just documenting like you've always been doing, just a different format. And suddenly, I don't know, you were done with that. You just deleted all the content from YouTube and stuff, and let's move on to something else. Right now you're doing like 100 daily vlogs on TikTok, because why not? Because you want to try it. And if you want to move on at some point, I'm sure you're just going to move on.
Exactly.
I like that you like to experiment, right, with your content and creating things.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword. I have crazy ADHD, so my mind is everywhere all the time. So it's something I constantly work on. And again, I love to experiment. I love to try different things, which it's really hard for me to just stick to one thing and just do one thing. It's one of the hardest things for me when it comes to content. And again, which is a double-edged sword, because I know if I stuck to just one thing, I would grow way faster, but I wouldn't have fun with it. And at the end of the day, I want to have fun with all of the content I create, because if I'm not having fun, it's not worth it. I don't want to view content as a job or something I need to do, but it's cool because I've had so many different experiments and tests that I can go back to those things. And it's funny that you brought up documented thoughts, because I just had a conversation with my girlfriend Katie this morning, and we're working on kind of like building different media brands, different media hubs. So I'll probably bring back documented thoughts, and yeah, again, those projects and stuff that you start, then maybe fall off or shift focuses. It's like there's learning lessons in all of those, and there's parts of that documented thoughts series that I loved. And again, I don't delete any of my stuff, minus YouTube stuff. I've just made that private. I haven't deleted anything, so I'll probably like continue bringing those back and try to make a YouTube video of like, hey, here, like, go check out this video. This is one of my first videos. I made it private for a while, just made it public. Go check that out. And maybe that's how I like start bringing back old videos, or start posting the documented thoughts videos on YouTube on another channel. So again, there's a lot of different ways I can kind of go about this, but yeah, I love just testing and experimenting because it's fun for me. I like to tinker. I like to create different things. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoy that process.
It's good that you don't have the pressure of like the money aspect. Like you said, you've got the, your job making your money, and then the content creation is just fun. I think that's really interesting because I think, like you said, a lot of people do go into it thinking, oh my God, at one point I'll make millions. And then they kind of do maybe 6 months and then think, oh, I'm not making any money, so I'm just going to stop, because it takes a long time to make money, especially on YouTube, unless you're like one of those lucky people that just skyrockets out of nowhere. Yeah. But it is so good that you've kind of got the business that makes you money. This is something you can do for fun, and you've got people that can edit for you to make it like as dynamic and like get as many watch hours you can out of each video. So it's really cool. Like, there's no pressure around it. I think a lot of creators feel a lot of pressure around creating content, but it's good that you kind of just do it for the fun of it rather than like having that stress behind it. It's really interesting.
Absolutely.
So to go back maybe to more your business, so pandemic 2020, 2021, Blank Stay Media becomes a full video editing company. You build a team around this company, and suddenly you realized that you are not a key element to the business anymore. You don't need to be 24/7 on the laptop doing things for the company to generate revenue and income and stuff like that. And you end up with way more free time and like, talk to us about this. This is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I'd say the one thing that I'm most proud of in my whole journey, that I've been able to build a team and put way smarter people, surround myself by way smarter people and way better people than myself in their respective skill sets. I'll always have that kind of visionary mentality and that visionary outlook, but am I the best at sales? No. Am I the best at finance? No. Am I the best at operations? No. Or editing? No. The answer is I'm not the best at mostly everything in my business besides understanding my business. And because I'm the best at understanding my business, I know what pieces I need to put in place. And that's all entrepreneurship is. It's just an arbitration of time versus money versus people. Can you put the right people in the right places at the right time to bring impact at scale, to change lives at scale? And that's what I'm most proud of by far, that, hey, if I don't work for a whole week or a whole month, the business still runs, the team still communicates every day with the clients. We're creating hundreds and hundreds of videos per month for the clients without me needing to touch the system. We can fulfill on orders, talk to clients, close deals, have leads come in without me doing anything. So obviously it still comes down to I still need to put in the work. I still need to make sure the ship is moving in the right direction, but it frees up so much of my physical time, but then also my mental headspace to then be able to get creative with content, do the things that I want to do, go pick up golf more, and actually have fun with my life. Because again, I don't want to work 18 to 20 hours a day every single day. I've been there, I've done that. I didn't like it at the time. Well, I liked it at the time because you're just in the dirt, you're building. And there's definitely those days still when I need to put my head down and put in a 13, 14, 15-hour day. Is it every day? No. Is it getting less and less? Absolutely. And again, it's just aligned with my goals and ambition. Again, I don't need to build Blank Slate into $1 billion company. If I wanted to, I would be working way more than I am. But I don't, and it's because I've created, I guess I've built that awareness around me. And at times when I was working 17, 18, 19 hours a day, I wanted to build a massive company, maybe not a billion, but I wanted hundreds of employees. And now I don't. I wouldn't like that life and the pressure and stress that it comes with. So I think that's a huge thing that people need to realize of. It's a lot of work, a lot of pressure to even have anyone rely on you and your company for a paycheck at the end of the day. It's paying yourself, and then it's paying 10 other people on your team to provide for them, provide a life for them, provide food on the table for them. So there's an immense amount of pressure and stress that creates, especially at a young age, that it's a little unique, and it's a lot of people aren't in that situation. So again, you just need to be aware of what comes with building a business, and be careful what you wish for, because it's coming true.
I've got a kind of weird question, but you don't think your brain is not like most 23 years old brain?
No, it's not.
Right?
I'm well aware.
Like you, and that started 5 or 6 years ago, even like, and maybe even before
that. Like, my parents have done an amazing job at crafting my life and crafting myself and my mindset, for sure. But continue.
So no, but like my point is, like, why do you think you're different, special? Because most 20 years old are interested and worried about very different thing at the moment. Then I need to create my dream life, and my goal in life is to be happy. They just worry about what they're going to have to drink later tonight and which club they're going to hit, like that's all they care about, most people. So
yeah, I think I just have this obsession over dismantling the system at large. I just have an obsession over bashing against the walls of like, how have people traditionally been raised? How has work traditionally been done? How has media traditionally been done? And I just want to destroy all of that in my own little ways of, hey, if 85% of my school is going to college, then there's no way I'm going to college. If 90% of the people out there is going to go get a 9-to-5 job, there's no way I'm getting a 9-to-5 job. So I don't know. I've just always had this obsession over trying to be different in any way I can, and that definitely carries over to kind of how I view life right now. Of those crazy people tend to be the people who change the world the most. And again, like Elon and Steve Jobs and like those figures growing up, that was a huge role model of mine, and I was just fascinated by the way the outlook they had on life. Of Steve Jobs said it best, like, once you realize the world was built by people no smarter than you, the barriers that you set for yourself and the ceilings you set for yourself disappear pretty quick. And once you realize that, of like, this life is malleable, you can really mold it and change it however you want to form your true dream life. I'm just obsessed over doing that for myself selfishly, because I'm just curious to see how much I can push and how far I can push and how much I can learn, how many people I can help, because I've just been grateful enough and blessed to be able to be like in this situation to do so. So it's like, it would be a disservice to everyone I've ever talked to, everyone I've ever came in contact with, to not do it. And it would be a disservice to myself. Like, I would be letting myself down if I didn't do this. And again, it creates a crazy, weird dichotomy of pressure of, are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it for others? And it's always an answer of, just kind of doing it for everyone in between, myself, other people. So there's no right or wrong answer. But it's just I don't know. It's just this crazy obsession over trying to do things differently, and really enjoying that process and just figuring shit out along the way.
How is your girlfriend reacting to your ambition, what makes you unique? Because I'm sure, I mean, she has to be somehow on board and aligned with what you want, otherwise she won't be with you. But how does she view it, maybe as a little outsider?
And she's the closest thing to an insider as possible. I would not even come close to the level of business success, content success, whatever you want to call it, luck, preparation, skill set. I wouldn't even be close to where I'm at today without her. She's been the most important person in my life throughout this process. I love my mother. Mom, I love you, but I don't live with my mother. I haven't lived with my mother for some time now, but I live with Katie, and she's there every single day with me through everything. So it's been amazing. I've been absolutely blessed, and to find her and have been with her since I was a pizza cook in high school and a snow park manager. So she's seen every single iteration of this. And I think
Pretty cool.
that's the most special thing. And again, as hard as building companies are, I think it's way harder to maintain a healthy relationship. So A, props to you guys, but B, relationships are super hard. It's tough. It's a full-time job, and you guys definitely know that too. But it's one of the most rewarding feelings you can have. So I'm excited. She loves it. She just quit her job too, and she's going to start her own media company. So
Hey, let's go.
I'm rubbing
Awesome.
off on her a little bit on that front of she's talked to me and said, hey, I would never do this if you didn't do it first, or if I didn't learn by example. So now everything I've done over the past 5 years, I can help her implement, and it might take her 5 months to do what I've done in 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of learning curves of, hey, if I went through and made my own mistakes, you can make your own mistakes, but you don't need to make the same mistakes I did because I already made them. So we can we can learn from those. So again, whatever media company she starts, it's gonna grow so much faster than mine because she's learned and she's been with me through that entire journey, which is super cool.
That's really cool. Congrats to her. Last
Yeah,
year
it is cool.
last year when we talked, you were starting to go to LA a little bit
Yep.
more. I think we talked in June or July last year. And yeah, so you were going back and forth between Milwaukee and LA because you were creating something over there. Can you
Yep.
tell us a little bit about this venture?
Yeah, I was working with my buddy Jake at a company called Trendsetters. They're kind of like a Gen Z agency, and I was working out there with them through 2021, traveling between LA and Milwaukee, and kind of going back and forth pretty much every month or so, sometimes a few times a month. And recently left that position in February of 2022. So really, I made it about a year or so with the company again. Had great times, did great work, but at the end of the day, I wanted to focus on myself, and I didn't want to be in a full agency anymore. I don't love any agency model, so there's nothing specifically against them, but I just didn't want to be in a big agency, and that's where I felt like I was going. So I took a step back and went back full time into Blank Slate and personal content, and super excited about kind of this next chapter. But yeah, that's really the decision I made. Again, there was no real drama involved or any juicy stories there, but just something that like it didn't just personally align with myself.
But maybe like on a more like personal level, how did you feel at, again, like 22 years old, to be casually making a decent amount of money through your business and traveling between Milwaukee and LA back and forth and living a very cool life? Like, did it seem like unreal in a way?
Yeah, I have moments really every week where I reflect back of like, this is exactly what I wished for. That's why I said earlier, like, careful what you wish for because it's coming true. And all of this, I didn't know exactly how fast it would happen, but pretty much every part of my life has been premeditated in some capacity. It's been designed in some capacity. I didn't exactly know how everything would play out, but I remember 3-4 years ago, I wanted to build something that's scalable. It's online. It's still in the content creation space. I can sell it as a subscription. I can have monthly recurring revenue. And that was way before even Blank Slate was a thing. So
Right.
It's funny how those thoughts come to fruition. So I vividly remember a conversation I had with my business coach at the time, Jordan Ross, in late 2019. I was still doing in-person videography stuff, and he asked me what my goals were, and I had like 2 or 3 goals. Is I wanted to create content, I wanted to travel, and I wanted to be financially free. Like I have the money to live the life I wanted to live, and buy myself a car, and get a nice apartment, and be able to pay rent at the end of the day without needing to stress to see where my next paycheck is coming from. I really couldn't think of anything bigger than that besides those 3 things. And now looking back on my life over the past few years, especially while I was traveling a ton between LA and Milwaukee, that's exactly what happened. I was able to travel. I was able to buy the car. I was able to afford to pay rent without really needing to stress out when the bills come around. And again, I'm grateful for that. And again, throughout the whole year, there was so many times when I didn't know if I could pay rent, if I didn't know if I would make ends meet at the end of the day, because shit's hard. It's hard building a company from the ground up, especially through a global pandemic. So it was just a super interesting position to be in. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that this is my life, because I know I've worked towards it, and I know that I've put my thoughts out into the universe, and I've wanted this exact life to come true, and I'm not surprised it's happened, because I know the work I've put into it. But it still feels pretty surreal at times, and I definitely forget that I'm 22 years old, 23 in October. But yeah, it's a crazy life, but that's the cool thing about the world right now, is you can build a pretty crazy life, and doesn't matter how old you are.
You said about putting the words like out there and kind of saying what you want to happen. Do you believe in manifestation? Do you think that was a part of it, or do you think it was just hard work and focusing? Because I know manifestation is like a huge thing at the minute, like it's a buzzword, everyone's talking about it. Do you believe in it? Is that something you think, or was it more, I don't know, what do you think about that?
I think it's twofold. Let's say I manifest building $1 billion company. That's not just going to come true overnight or in the next decade. You need to do everything damn near perfect for a decade to get to that point. So it's between aligning your goals and ambitions, and that's kind of the manifesting part that I talk about of, hey, at the time, I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to pay my bills. I want to be able to buy a Tesla. I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z. That's the manifestation part. But none of that would come true if I just sat on my ass and watched Netflix all day. Like, you actually need to work towards those things now. So I think the manifestation part is like, be clear on where you want to go. Be clear on the intentions you set. Be clear on the goals you want to happen. Write those down. Say them out loud. Do whatever you need to do. To truly rewire your brain and believe that all of these things have come true already. Time just hasn't caught up, and that's kind of what I like to tell myself of anything I ever want. It's come true already, but just time hasn't caught up. So I'm gonna work towards that and kind of take the opportunities that I find along the way to align and get to where I want to go the best I can, because again, we don't see time in a four-dimensional world. We can only be in one place at one time, but like time is already, like the whole timeline of our lives is already done, but we just can only live in this moment at once, like in a certain time point. So from like a crazy 3D, 4D, 6D world side of things, like Tesseract, Interstellar type shit, yeah, we can only see time as a concept when other beings out there might be able to view time as a time and place, like a location where you can travel to LA on a plane. Other beings can travel to 2006 because they view time in a four-dimensional I'm getting way off track, but that's kind of how
I'm
I
like,
view.
I'm like so lost but so intrigued. I'm like, what is he talking about?
Yeah. We'll bring it back to manifestation. But yes, I believe in manifestation. Yes, you need to put in the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's episode 3.5 on
I think so. I think we need to
Interstellar.
dive deeper.
We'll do it in a metaverse.
Yeah.
No, but it's interesting you
Bring it
talk
back
about time
to human
because
talk.
I forgot the English word, but you always wear around your neck this item. If people are watching on YouTube, I can't remember how it's called in English. I'm sorry.
Hourglass.
Why do you wear that?
Because it's time. It reminds me that time is finite, and we're always running out of it. So make the most out of it. It's the one thing we don't get back. Is time. So spend it wisely. Spend it with the ones you love. Spend it how you want to do it. Because again, I love I don't know if Oliver Tree actually quoted it or got it from somewhere, but he has a song and says some people are so poor all they have is money. And that relates to me super hard because like at the end of the day, money is cool, but you can always lose it. You can always make more of it. Anyone out there, but time is something no one can get back. So until time travel is real, it's just a constant reminder of, hey, we have this super fragile life on this planet, and again, time is always running out. So make the most of it.
So maybe one of my last question would be, if people follow you on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, and if people listen to the podcast, it's like your life is a dream. Literally, like everything seems to be absolutely perfect, and everything is just you're hitting all the milestones. Like everything is going so smoothly. But I mean, you're a human being. You're like everyone else. You're going through some shit. Like, can you tell us maybe a little bit of what we don't see?
Yeah, there's an unbelievable amount of pressure that I put on myself that I physically can't turn off at any point in time. I can forget about it. I can focus on different tasks, but at the end of the day, the life I've built for myself, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I've been able to put that pressure on myself on purpose because I know that I will get better from it, and I've just taken up that responsibility to change my life, but then everyone around me's life at the same time. So it's definitely a self-imposed invisible pressure, but it's just more pressure than I could imagine putting on yourself at a pretty young age, and just a unique position to put yourself in. Again, like paying your own bills is hard enough, but then paying the bills of 20 other people on top of that. And if you don't work, if you don't build the system to do that, then those people will need to look elsewhere. And is it the end of the world? No, but at the end of the day, it's just an obscene amount of pressure. But again, pressure makes diamonds. It's a double-edged sword. So that's been the biggest thing. It's created crazy anxieties for me that I haven't had before. Definitely amplified by the pandemic. It's made my kind of ADHD way worse. And I think that's something that's it's new to me. It's always been a thing. I've never actually been prescribed anything or really checked it out until recently. And they're like, yeah, you have crazy fucking ADHD, buddy. Like, that's not a bad thing, but just wanted to let you know. I'm like, I figured. So yeah, it's, there's definitely a lot of things that aren't perfect, but what are you going to do about it besides just keep going? And again, there's days when I don't work at all because I wake up in a crazy just state of anxiety and panic and just worry that, oh shit, all of this is going to fail tomorrow, when there's no way it's going
There's no reason to.
But those thoughts always creep in. So yeah, there's definitely been days where I wake up and I just want to lay in bed all day, and some days I do, and I answer the emails I need, I take the calls I need, but some days you just don't work, and I just can't work that day, and that's fine. And I think that's something I'm really learning to be okay with, because you can't be on and perfect every single day. It's impossible. We're all human beings trying our best. So again, having that support system around me, having Katie to support and help talk through those things have helped me a ton. So yeah, my life is far from perfect. I don't care what it looks like on social. There's always stresses. There's always things to improve on. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade anything for the world. Like, my life is perfect to me. If I could go back and change one thing in my whole entire life, I wouldn't. Because I think every single decision, moment, time and place has shaped who I am today, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. So yeah, there's a lot of shit, a lot of roadblocks, a lot of speed bumps to go through, but that's welcome to being a human being. And I have my own shit, you have your own shit, and it's crazy to me that people think that other people have it all figured out and they have perfect lives, because it's not real. Everyone has their own worries, their own problems in some capacity.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you asked that, Jeremy, but I'm also so glad that you answered that honestly, because you could have been like, yeah, life's pretty good, but actually saying that you have anxiety and some days you spend the day in bed and you just do what you need to do just to get by, that's so relatable to so many people, especially after the pandemic and everything that's happened. So many people's mental health has just gone downhill and suffered, and it's I think it's important when people talk about mental health and talk about how they're getting on, because it kind of unites everyone together, because either you're going through it and you can relate, or you're not going through it and you can kind of start to feel empathy and kind of understand what other people are going through. So thank you for being honest with that one.
Of course. I remember early pandemic, I was in such a good routine of going to bed at 9, waking up at 5, and it was on. And I've been trying to get back to a point where I wake up at 5 a.m. consistently, actually well rested, not forcing myself to wake up at 5 because my alarm goes off. And I haven't been able to get to that point in, I don't even know the last time, probably 10 to 12 months. But it's something that I've been trying to, I guess, forgive myself and not put as much pressure on myself to dude, it doesn't matter if you wake up at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. and not 5 a.m. just because you set an intention out there, or set hey, I want to do this. Again, life happens sometimes. I try to go to bed at 9, but then 9 turns into midnight, and I'm damn,
and then the Bucks are playing, and you can't.
Exactly, and then there's no way you're going to bed at 9, and then you need to spend an hour decompressing over either a win or loss. So it's just it's crazy, but yeah, that's what being a human is all about. So again, I'm trying my best. I'll get into better routines, but yeah, it's definitely been hard through the pandemic, through everything. But again, at the end of the day, we're humans, so let's just try the best we can. Let's do the best we can to do the best we can.
Yeah.
Sam, thank you so much once again. My last question is going to be: are the Bucks going back in the final? Or?
Oh, 100%. We're winning that. It's going to be tough. But it always is. I'm thinking we go back to finals with the Suns, but we win in 7 this year instead of 6. So that's my prediction. Bucks in 7 against the Suns. We'll win it in Phoenix because they would have home court. So that's my guess.
Manifestation. Here we go.
A little manifestation. It would definitely, again, it's hard being a Bucks fan. It's hard being any sports fan from Wisconsin. It definitely takes a few years off your life from the amount of stress. I talk about business being stressful, relationships being stressful, but I'm pretty sure the most stress I endure is being a Bucks fan on a weekly basis. So I wouldn't wish this stress on anyone else.
Nothing makes me cry more than sports.
Yeah, it's crazy what sports can do.
Yeah,
I love it though.
Okay, less sports. Did we ask you last year who?
No, we didn't. We never asked him.
So a question we usually ask people. If you could speak to anybody, dead or alive, famous or not famous, literally anybody who you think would be the most interesting person, who would you choose and what would you want to talk about?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm thinking Steve Jobs. It's between Steve Jobs and Elon.
And Elon, yeah, I thought that.
That's been a pretty typical answer in my life. But yeah, I'd talk about Steve Jobs and I'd talk about what has helped shape his mindset on bashing against the walls versus not. Hey, what inspired you to go against the system and build a whole new system and just completely dismantle it? Because obviously we've seen how Apple has transformed the world. And it's one of the most valuable companies in the world. And at the end of the day, it started with one single product. So I guess it started with a vision and then turn that into a product. So I'm just fascinated by his mindset on the ability to change the world. Not necessarily his like leadership style or being a genuinely good person, because I think there's other better examples of how he leads, but that I don't think that discredits his mindset on how he's been able to look at the world and shape it and mold it how he envisioned it and wanted it.
Awesome.
It's that or Walt Disney on storytelling. That would also be pretty fascinating.
That would be really cool. Yeah.
What makes a good story? How have you built an empire around storytelling? Because Disney is they're the best storytellers in the world on the planet by far. So that's also something that would be super, super interesting. It's a great question, though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I would love to talk to.
Yeah.
Well, ask you that next year and see if it's changed. If you have any new like inspirations or anyone else you'd talk to.
Next year we need to go for like 3 hours because I could talk to you guys all day.
Sam, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure talking to you, having you on the show, following your journey. I love seeing what you're up to and what magic you're creating. And yeah, keep doing it, keep being yourself, because I love it personally, and the world need people like you. It's nice.
I love it. Thank you, guys. I love you both.
Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you for everybody watching on YouTube and listening on the podcast platforms. We'll be back next Wednesday with a brand new episode. We'll leave Sam's information in the description box in the show notes. Make sure you subscribe to Sam and to us. Make sure you follow. Make sure you do all of the things that you're supposed to do. We'll be back next week, and thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.